On December 17th, 2014, President Castro and I announced that the United States and Cuba would begin a process to normalize relations between our countries.
Former U.S. President Barack Obama addressed Cubans during his visit to Havana 4 years ago after he ordered the restoration of full diplomatic relations with Cuba. The move filled Cubans and Americans with expectations of friendlier and closer links between Washington and Havana after decades of confrontation. But what appeared to many to be a positive engagement was derailed by President Donald Trump as soon as he took office in 2017. Trump is hoping for a second presidential term. His opponent, Democratic nominee Joe Biden, has promised to reinstate the Obama Cuba policy. For Cuban political analyst Carlos Alzugaray, there is a clear difference between the two candidates when it comes to relations with the Caribbean island.
Biden wins, we will go back to normalization with a very important point. My bet is that he's going to start normalization in the first year of a 4 year term. With Trump, in my view, he will continue the present policy of punishing Cuba as much as he can with the false expectation that he can bring about a regime change in Cuba.
CGTN talked with some Cubans about their hope for next week.
I wish that Democratic candidate Joe Biden wins the election because he has these progressive ideas in terms of American foreign policy, including US relations with Cuba. So I hope Joe Biden wins.
I'd like to see Biden win due to his personal characteristics and commitment and the way he has addressed the US people and the international community, because the current US president has maintained a very aggressive
See if I can go through here.
us.
You know what's weird? I cannot hear the video that I'm playing.
U.S. presidential elections, Cubans are ready to endure an extension of the aggressive policy against the island thus far maintained by Donald Trump, or to contribute to a possible ease of bilateral relations, as proposed by Joe Biden. Luis Chirino, CGTN, Havana.
Hi everybody, how you doing? It's Riquet over here. My co-host Iskra will join us shortly. I believe she fell off. Thank you guys for responding. It's weird because I can hear Iskra.
I'm here. So sorry.
Hey, welcome. I was just telling our audience that I can hear you, but when I play a video, they can hear it, but I cannot hear it. So I have to figure that out later. But
Hi, everybody.
I wanted to welcome you guys. As always, my name is Riquet Caballero. My co-host is
Iskra Perez. Nice to have everybody here tonight.
excellent.
Excellent topic we're talking about.
That's right. So
all this great things that we are living in today. I mean, we are living democracy at its best. I mean, and you know, even though some of us might be feeling down because perhaps we're not seeing the outcome that we wanted to see, the reality is that democracy is still in play. There are systems still being processes being done, and you know, it's not over yet. Right, Riquet?
that's right. So if you guys don't know, in the United States, there's not one election, there's 50 elections for each state. If, let's say, something goes wrong, then those states' laws will apply. So in some states, they recount automatically when when the races are close. In other states, they do a second election called a runoff. In other states, you can dispute the election. and go to court. And it really depends on the situation. We know for sure that Trump is challenging one of the key states, Pennsylvania, which is the one that gave Biden the win, per se, even though it's not official, right? Because Congress has not approved it. So that there's a court challenge there, and I believe they're going to the Supreme Court. So we'll wait and see. This is one for the books. This is gonna be a long haul.
And I think I was on Newsstand just right before I got on here, actually, and one of the major polls that's just reverted Pennsylvania. So, you know, this is far from over, people. But you know, we're in America, and you know, regardless of the outcome, we got to go vote, and our vote does count, and they're counting every single vote versus what happens back in our country. And you know, do we have any information? I believe you had some information to show our audience on how the voting system works in Cuba.
That's right. Yeah. So obviously, by now, everyone knows how the United States voting system works. It's super transparent. You know, some people are befuddled. Oh, it's not a democracy. It's a republic. You know, there's many rules here, right? But at least you know that your vote is counted, and when it's not counted correctly, or you think there's some doubt or some fraud, then you can go to the appropriate authorities with the correct process to dispute whatever you feel or you think that went wrong. However, in Cuba, it is a little different. Today, we call our president, or that guy, we call that puppet, puesto a dedo, which means he was fingered, right? Somebody just pointed at him and said, "You're the new president." That someone, of course, would be Raul Castro, right? The dynasty. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to read you guys an article from the Foundation for Human Rights in Cuba regarding how elections in Cuba, how they work. Let me share with you right now. One moment, please. And is it legible? Okay, I'm going to zoom in on that. Oh God, yes, accepted. Okay. So elections in Cuba are just a deception of the democratic process, vastly different from countries throughout the world. The wrong-running Communist Party in Cuba uses the illusion of free elections to maintain power and control. That's right. Remember, we have only one party in Cuba. The oppressive Cuban government gives the citizens practically no choice in selecting future leaders for the country, whether it is through municipal or parliamentary elections. Understanding the lack of free elections in Cuba, as well as other basic human rights, is key to promoting change that will benefit all citizens and help them experience the freedom of democracy. Municipal elections. Cuba's election system consists of both municipal and national elections that are both held at different times. A municipal election happens every 2.5 years, as each candidate is chosen during a public meeting. Okay. These candidates must meet a specific qualifications, such as having close ties with the communist government without dissenting views. Each candidate must obtain 50% of the vote to win their district. Without having dissenting views, this is a reason why a lot of Cubans in America were distressed and they voted for Trump, and that is political correctness. This is political correctness. You have the correct political alignment. okay, when you do not dissent from the party line. Unfortunately, this corrupt process makes it impossible to nominate citizens that are not heavily influenced by the Communist Party in Cuba. National elections. Cuban citizens have no choice in selecting candidates for national elections. Instead, each candidate is nominated by one of 6 different organizations that are directly influenced by the Communist Party. Voters can also serve on multiple proxy organizations, which further increases the chance of overrepresentation and corruption. One moment. Cuban citizens are forced to vote for the candidates on the ballot, or their vote is considered invalid. These oppressive elections in Cuba only serve to further legitimize the authority of the communist government, as it gives the citizens of Cuba no free choice in electing their leaders. A corrupt electoral system. The lack of transparency in the government voting system makes it impossible for Cubans to experience the freedom of fair elections. Official election results usually give the government at least 85% of the vote. That's why I say that Cubans are just like Black Americans. We just vote one party close to 90% or more. The Cuban government all too often oppresses dissenting political views and discriminates against minorities. Irony. The vote in the current system holds little to no value and is simply a smokescreen to keep the Communist Party firmly in power, continually oppressing everyday citizens in Cuba. And this is how you can partner with Foundation for Human Rights in Cuba. I'm going to unmute you now. Okay. So that was just a little, a brief primer into what the elections are like in Cuba. I have more information, but I wanted to let you guys in. I know that Joandra wanted to come in, but then she left. Or Iskra, if you have anything else to say.
I mean, what else can I say? It's, what we want people to understand is basically right now, a lot of us are saying, well, we there shouldn't be any, we need to stop, we don't we need to, Mr. Trump needs to conceive, right? He needs to just give up. And well, I don't think so, because there were 70 million people, over 70 million people, because every day that gap gets closer, that voted for him. And those people that voted for him want every single vote to be counted, and they have that right as United States citizens. We have the right to have every single vote counted, and that is a constitutional right that no one can take away from us. Unlike countries like Cuba, or other many dictatorships that don't have those voting rights. And so, when we come to this country and we see those types of freedoms slowly being taken away from us, when we see, the media being only, giving the optics of only one side, instead of being, covering both sides of the story, when we see all of these things that are slowly happening in this country, we people say we're getting paranoid. Well, is it paranoid? Is it paranoia when I'm now seeing someone on Twitter saying we need to start putting a list together, of everyone that supported Donald Trump? Well, there was a lot of lists in Cuba. There are a lot of lists in Cuba. And this is how slowly they start getting into taking away our freedom. And this is why we wanted to make these comparisons, to show you guys, first of all, because we want you to know how there is a dictatorship in our country, why no one has voted for that president that's there. But second, to compare it to what's happening here today in our country. in the United States. We want you to understand that it's not paranoia. We just do have that experience of slowly all these freedoms being taken away from us. And we're not saying that tomorrow we're going to wake up and not have all of these freedoms. But I have seen a substantial amount of things happening um, within this last year alone that I haven't seen in 40 years that I have lived in the United States. And it's concerning to me. It's very concerning. And I hope we don't continue to go down this road because it's not a pretty one. And sometimes I feel, Riquette, sometimes I feel like, maybe we should just let them let them be and, just give them a taste of their own medicine, see what really socialism does look like, but then again, I can't I feel responsible for saying something. We feel a certain responsibility. Uh, First of all, because this is our country, also. Second, because this is going to be the future country of our future generations. Um, and third, because we come from a place where we have seen what it's like, and it is not pretty. It is not a pretty thing. So I don't know, has anyone tried to come in to the I think Odisnel was I haven't I'm on my phone, so it's really hard for me to. Normally I'm on the computer and I can see what's happening everywhere, but now that I'm on my phone, I can't see anything that's happening out there. So unfortunately, you're gonna have to excuse me. Have we put the link in yet? I can't hear you. Are you on mute? Oh,
I'm putting
okay.
the link out right now.
Don't let. Okay, I'm here talking on by myself. Like, is anybody out there? Okay, let's put the link in and let's hear some of our some of these opinions. Okay, guys, the link is on the chat. If anybody wants to come in, we really want to hear your opinions. Do you concur with with this with how we've explained how the voting it goes in Cuba? And how do you see the differences between the Cuban voting system and the U.S. voting system? Hello, Disney. How are you, my friend?
Hello, hello. Thank you here.
Yeah.
Hi,
So,
Ed. How you doing?
Hello, brother. I'm doing well. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me. I was listening to what you guys were saying about the elections. You know, it's been a mess here for this almost 15 years that I've been living here in the state. First time that I say something like this. And I was explaining to a friend of mine today because it's kind of confusing for a lot of people. They're saying the elected president Biden, and when there's a dispute like it's going on right now, and things are not determined yet, and there's not an official organization that has declared um, Biden as the elected president. So it's just the media. It's the media that say that, and that's totally wrong.
right, they
That's
have
for,
no. Mm-hmm.
so far until till January the 20th.
Mm-hmm.
Is it January the 20th?
Yep.
Yes, right.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yep.
the president
So,
of the United States is Donald Trump. And Donald Trump hasn't accepted the results of the elections yet.
Right.
And there's a dispute going on. A lot of people think, well, the media is always mentioned or call the elected president like that. Yeah, you're right about that. They've always done that, but there hasn't been a dispute before.
Right.
It happened in the year 2000 with the elections for President George W. Bush, and it took 35 days for the results to be completed because it was Florida. I think it was one of the states that was in the dispute back in those days.
Yeah.
But it's like 6 different states right now that are in dispute. So they are the media is doing and saying something that is not right. They are saying the elected president.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not the elected president yet.
No.
Not yet. So we still don't know. December the 14th, we is when they get together, and they will say who the elected president is,
Right.
even if the elections are gonna be impugnated or not. So whatever the case might be, what I would like people to understand, and myself also understand, because everybody knows, like I want like Trump 2020
Right.
all the time. So it doesn't matter if it's Biden or Trump, but what we need is to have something that's clear, that's honest to the rest of the world. Because I think the worst thing that's going on right now is that the whole world, the entire world, is looking at the United States, and it's our enemies. The enemies of this nation is laughing. They are laughing at the United States. Like when you see democracy, you talk about democracy, you talk about transparency, and see what's going on. See
But
what's
that's not. I mean but what? That's not the. That's the issue here. Is basically the media, because we are transparency. The system is in place, and Republicans have been going through the system. The ones that have changed everything is the media. They have made a whole shebang out of this. They've even gone out there. Biden has gone. Even I don't understand how they can just go right along with this, absolutely knowing that this is wrong. This is against every single U.S. policy that we have in place. But to each his own. I think that they're going to. Honestly, I'm very optimistic. Today's poll. I mean, I've been. I'm on new. I no longer on regular media. I am on newsstand news. What's it called? Newsstand TV, and they just right before I got in here, one of the big polls reversed the Pennsylvania, that they had given it to Biden. They reversed that state already. So because the count is too close. So
there's so many irregularities in these elections. Like they mentioned that there were around 21,000 votes of people who are dead. So what's that telling you right there? So, and they were talking about some other issues with equipment that gave the vote, all of the votes to Biden, even the votes that belonged to Donald Trump.
And we understand. And look, we understand that even if this doesn't change the outcome, because the numbers maybe don't get there, it doesn't matter. We have the right, because there's a system in place, and we have the right to have an accountability and to have each and every vote be accurate, and be counted for. And that is the great difference between the United States and the Cuba system, where there is no accountability, and there's nothing in place,
Well,
and there's no one. Who are you gonna go to? Who are you gonna
and talking about Cuban, if it's Donald Trump or Biden, I think us as U.S. citizens and also Cubans, we have the right to ask the government for respect when it comes to the Cuban policy, because that this candidate, let's call him candidate Biden, saying that he is going to do the same. He's going to retake the same type of policy that Obama carried out towards Cuba. That's very disrespectful, because everything that we've advanced is going to be a step back.
Well,
Because
I think yeah.
we know what's going on in Cuba. It's a game. They have this game. They are making it harder for the Cuban people, and at the same time as they increase the problems or the issues in Cuba for the Cuban people, they increase the propaganda against Donald Trump and the United States.
Yep.
So it's a game. It's all a game. They have everything in their hands just to make the Cuban people's life easier. They tag their necks really, really, really tight, and they blame the United States and Donald Trump. Now, if Biden is elected, they will ease that a little bit, and they will say, "You see, Biden is a better option because Biden is going to start, opening relations with the Cuban government, which is not going to be good for the Cuban people at all.
Right.
What it's going to do is going to enrich and empower the dictators even more, and they will be getting more and more money and more opportunities to be there and stay there for as long as they please."
Yeah, but I think now that we have good senators, and we have people in the House. I think we have to go to our leaders, and they have to make sure they fight for us. That's what we have to do as Cubans.
Yes, that's what I said. Cubans and as American citizens,
Yeah.
we have the right to ask for things. When it comes to Cuba, to the U.S. policy towards Cuba.
Hey guys,
Mhm.
can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I wanted to read a small excerpt from the International Association, let me see, the Inter-American, Commission on Human Rights, which is part of the Organization of American States, in Spanish, La OEA, in English is OAS. So they did a Cuba 2020 report, and over here they have a section on the supposedly, representative democracy that we have. So I'm just gonna read a little bit for the audience so that they get a better picture of what happens in Cuba.
Okay.
All right. I hope it's legible, guys. There we go. Let's see how you guys see it. Yeah, okay. So here we go. The Inter-American Commission for Human Rights believes that the full exercise of political rights, along with other rights, is an essential element of a representative and pluralistic democratic system. So on and so forth. This is great. Now, in Article 80 of the new Cuban Constitution, they noted that they refer to a number of political rights. So Cubans are supposed to have the right to participate in the formation, the exercise, and control of the power of the state. In accordance with the Constitution and the laws, they may be registered on the electoral roll, propose and nominate candidates, elect and be elected, participate in elections, plebiscites, referendums, popular consultations, and other forms of democratic participation, pronounce on the accountability of those elected, revoke the mandate of those elected, interesting, present proposed laws and amendments to the Constitution, perform public functions, hold public office, and be informed of the performance of the state bodies and authorities. So this is what we're supposed to have in Cuba. And, it's great that they've enshrined it, but they are not respecting that at all.
Right.
So basically, the serious failure to abide by the core requirements of representative democracy and its institutions is one of the main factors behind the inclusion of Cuba in Chapter 5 of the annual reports of the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights.
Mhm.
So, in the wake of the electoral process that began in 2017, Raul Castro was relieved of office of the President of the Council of State and of the Minister of the Republic of Cuba in 2018. His replacement, Miguel Díaz-Canel, aka Puestoadero, was confirmed by 99.83% of the votes. This is even like of the 605 deputies of the National Assemblies of the People's Power. Oh my God, it's all about power with the socialists. After being nominated the day before as the sole candidate. Oh, that's okay. So a day before, the only candidate approved 99.8%. Of course, the former President Raul retained leadership of the Communist Party, and as the president-elect announced, is in charge of most of the important decisions for the president and the future of the nation. So imagine if Biden, who is the president-elect, right, announces that Trump is still in charge of most of the important decisions for the president and the future of the nation. Let us say.
See how disrespectful all that is. They're saying that the Communist Party is it's on top of everything. It's even on top of the Constitution. So the Constitution is worthless when it comes to the Communist Party. And if the president is Díaz-Canel, the one that was assigned, finger assigned, let's call it like that, finger assigned.
Finger assigned, yes.
The finger assigned Díaz-Canel. So he's the president just by name, because Raúl Castro is still the first minister of the Communist Party or whatever they call it, and the Communist Party is the organization on top of everything, even on top of the Constitution. They whatever the Communist Party dictates. And that's the right word, dictates, because they dictate. It's not that they submit anything, to votes. They just dictate. This is it, and this is it.
That's right.
So it's very disrespectful. It's all a game of words that are useless and worthless.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, it's even worse than Russia. At least, I think Putin puts up a better show. He becomes the president and then he's the prime minister and they switch back and forth, this and that. But I mean, in Cuba, it's ridiculous.
And if you think about it, since 1959, the presidents that were in Cuba, Urrutia, I'm trying to remember the name of Urrutia was one of them. Well, these presidents were just a figure, because the one that was always ruling the country was Fidel Castro.
Correct.
So after 1970, I believe, he turned into the prime minister and the president of the republic, and then he passed that on to Raúl Castro. Nobody voted for Raúl Castro, so nobody voted for the finger assigned Díaz-Canel.
Oh yeah, it's all hereditary and by decree, finger decree.
So what did they talk about elections and all? And it's funny how they are trying to get involved in the elections of the United States when they don't do it in Cuba. They don't have elections in Cuba. So what are they talking about?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's all a deflection, right? It's like, don't look around you. Don't look at the situation that you're faced with every day. Focus on the enemy. Focus on the United States, Okay, I'm going to keep on going. Furthermore, with regard to the popular consultation and presidential election processes, the commission notes that according to the media, one of the citizens' requests was that the election of the president and vice president be by popular vote. However, the constitution adopted did not include that possibility. On contrary, during the period covered by this report, President Miguel Díaz-Canel was elected by the National Assemblies of People's Power. So the president was not even elected by a popular vote. And then, the representatives or the electors, like happens here, cast their electoral votes, right, in a college, or in this case, it will be the National Assembly, and then that body is the one that actually elects the president, right? So in America, the Electoral College or the electors in each state, they have to basically abide by the popular vote. They can vote against that, but then that can be contested, or if they will face severe repercussions, because and also in some states you are pledged to vote a certain way, so your vote is already cast depending on which state and the party rules of that state.
I don't understand.
But usually it goes with the popular vote. Here in Cuba, they don't even consult the popular vote at all. It all happens in the National Assembly. Constitutionally speaking, Cuba is supposed to be a single party state in which the Communist Party is the highest political and leadership force in society and the state. That is straight out of the actual constitution. The Commission considers that the constitutional provision of a single party not only prevents higher level of political discussion, which is fundamental condition for democracy, but also limits the rights of those who do not share the political convictions of the Communist Party, because it does not allow individuals to participate as provided in Article 20 of the American Declaration of the Rights and Duties of Man, which states, every person having legal capacity is entitled to participate in the government of his country, directly or through his representatives, and to take part in political elections, which shall be by secret ballot and shall be honest, periodic, and free. That doesn't happen. This is illustrated by the comments of one of those interviewed by the Commission on the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights, who underscored the difficulty of political opposition in Cuba. There is no effective way of being in opposition in Cuba. Everything on the island is controlled by state security. It is even above the leadership of the country, above what the party says. They are terrified whenever state security rears its head. It is an organization that has power over everyone. We haven't the slightest freedom of action. The monopoly of such political organizations means that anyone who is not a member of the party has no possibility of attaining public office or participating in the representation of their government. In the testimonies collected by the Commission, questions were asked about political participation and access to public office. One testimony obtained by the Commission said, if I wanted to hold public office, I would have to be a member of the Communist Party and follow the party's orders. The Communist Party in Cuba is above the law. That is where we get into the science fiction part. In Cuba, there are no problems with transparency, representation, and all the other things that do not exist in Cuba. Why would there be a problem if they don't even exist for there to be a problem? The Commission reiterates its concern about the absence of guarantees for the exercise of political rights by persons who are not registered or aligned with the Communist Party or its mass organizations. The committee finds that the possibility of dissenting and expressing political opinions has an obstacle in the de jure promulgation of a single party, Cuba, in spite of the multiple political organizations that demand participation in the public sphere. In contrast to the provisions of the Constitution, the committee notes that although by law only one political party exists, there are de facto movements and associations that propose ideas different from those of the Communist Party. Thus, the Commission notes that in Cuba, other groups stand out, such as UNPACU, the Ladies in White, Christian Liberation Movement, Pedro Luis Vomitel Party for Democracy, Party for Christian Unity of Cuba, Orlando Zapata Tamayo National Resistance Front, Youth Awake Opposition Movement, United Anti-Totalitarian Forum, National Democratic Unity Party, Alternative Option Independent Movement, and the San Isidro Movement, among others. So they note that the restrictions on the rights of political groups that deviate from the Communist Party, as noted in 2017, and they recorded several attacks on organizations that promoted, among other issues, a multi-party system. The Special Rapporteur for Freedom of expression for the committee was concerned by reports that in April, Carla Maria Perez Gonzalez, a journalism student, was expelled from the University of Las Villas for belonging to Somos Más. That's our movement. And her classmates decided that she should be expelled. This sounds very familiar. We've seen this in colleges here. That's why we're, again, freaking out. If you ever look at Berkeley, if you ever look at Evergreen College with Professor Weinstein, that was strange. Her classmates decided that she should be expelled, a decision that was ratified by the University Student Federation of the school, as if student body government can just expel a student. In the press release, the FEU said that she was a member of an illegal counter-revolutionary organization contrary to the principles, objectives, and values of the Cuban Revolution. She got canceled. As previously noted, the concern of the Commission in this regard is the absence of guarantees of the exercise of political rights by people that are not registered with the Communist Party or its mass organizations. The committee finds that the possibility of dissenting and expressing political opinions as an obstacle in the promulgation of the single party. And now the right to vote. They received testimonies that highlight the difficulty for people that are not affiliated with the Communist Party to actually occupy elected office. One of them said, the political role of the citizens is to be blotted out, and it is the Communist Party that chooses the candidates and applicants. Gerardo Paez made this comment. I have not tried to run as a candidate for a constituency where we are allowed. I have helped campaign. And a few years ago, we managed to get him to run and win, but maneuvers by state security had a strong negative influence, and so on election day, he was defeated. We know that it is a step it will be very hard for us to pull off because the regime has absolute control over the count. Another testimony. I acquired a lot of experience because I coordinated the 818 platform. Its aim was to reform the electoral law in order to make it democratic and pluralistic and to put forward candidates for the municipal elections, which is the only level where citizens can run without the involvement of state agencies. We managed to present a list of 172 independent candidates throughout the country for the municipal elections in November 2017, and the reaction of the authorities was to use extra legal means to prevent them from running at the local level. Some made it to the assemblies to present their candidates, but they and their supporters were quickly repressed. Regarding the right to elect, in the period covered by this report, a number of highly significant popular elections were held, such as the one for municipal delegates in 2017. It is worth noting that the 2017 elections in Cuba were the first in which the historic leader of the Cuban Revolution, Fidel Castro, did not take part following his death in 2016. I mean, it goes on and on.
Yeah, I have a question for maybe Ernesto or Osman. Did any of you guys go through a voted in Cuba, or did you not even bother?
Hi everyone. That was a
Hi.
good question. Hey Osman, hey Kira and Riquet. I hope you guys doing well. I mean, sorry to come late, but I'm here.
Welcome.
I couldn't miss this.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Back to the question. No, I didn't have a chance to vote in Cuba. It doesn't matter. Like maybe Osmel might back me up on that. It really doesn't matter who you vote for. Your candidate never gonna go through. As somebody already
Yes,
already decided. It's just like the whole process. But I never saw how the election looks like until this year that I finally vote and made my right happen. And that was my first time experience voting for real. For the person that I believe that represent me, or from my own decision, not for, hey, vote for this guy or vote for another guy, or sometimes you don't even know who you vote for. Like you got a bunch of names.
Most of the time, you don't know.
And it was like, okay, Riquet. Who is Riquet? And who is that guy? I never see that guy around here. But he's running for, I don't know, presidency or whatever. But you know what? And they put a picture of the guy, and that's the first time you see the guy. That's funny,
Right.
and that's the first time you see it.
And they
Never
already
seeing,
call, and they're already calling him president.
yeah,
Yeah.
and never show up on your neighborhood, never show up on TV, but his name was there. So I don't know. It could be the guy actually cut in the yard on the park or something that they place it over there, a name or one random name. I don't know. You never actually meet that person.
Yeah.
So it's like
Yeah.
I
a
had to
random.
make a comment. Tadeos, you can come in if you want.
Yeah.
You say that he's behaving like a dictator. However, as you can see, there are elections here, and he may very well not be the president again, right? So your
Mm,
actual statement is self-contradictory. It is a
Yeah.
low IQ statement, Tadeus. He's behaving like a dictator, and then he lost. Get out. Dictators don't lose, Tadeus. You
Dictators
need
don't,
to
dictators
eat
don't allow
your
don't allow elections. Dictators don't allow elections. That's it.
exactly. It's just sad. He didn't
They
have enough
dictate.
gofio growing up. That's what it
So
is.
uh,
let me tell a little bit about my experience when it comes to voting in Cuba. I was at school. When you're at school, I finished a career in Cuba, so I went all the way to university. And when you are at school, you have elections within the students. So you're not part of the system. You know, outside the university, outside the pre-university, you are in school. So you
Mhm.
vote for the ones that are going to represent you in your school. Once you get into society, then you start, getting involved in this fake elections in Cuba, and it's fake. We all know it's fake. I don't have the experience to tell you that I voted when I finished the career, because when I finished the career, I started studying the Bible with the Jehovah's Witness, and I stepped out of all the political organizations in Cuba. I wasn't even member of the Defense for the Revolution committees, or whatever it's called, Comité de Defensa de la Revolución. I don't know how to say that in English. I never bothered. So I wasn't.
Committees for the defense of the revolution.
Oh yeah, okay. For the Defense of the Revolution.
Oh no. Tadeo says that I sound like Trump. Sorry, but it's right. Low IQ. Excuse me. Excuse me.
Go.
You're
You
low
go back
IQ,
and
Tadeus.
go. You don't
I'm
have to be.
sorry. It's just the way it is. Just the way it
Yeah,
is. Low
yeah.
IQ. Low IQ.
And it's the best of the best of the best. Okay. So I was telling you about my experience. So I was never part of the the voting system in Cuba. So because
Yeah.
even though after I decided I didn't belong to the Jehovah's Witness organization for personal
Right.
things, and I didn't go back to
right.
any political organization in Cuba. So never. So I was one of those. I was like floating. Nobody knew where I was. I didn't. I wasn't living in the same neighborhood that I was born and brought up. So I was living
Right.
elsewhere, and I would tell the people at the other neighborhood, "Well, I belong to where I was born." And the ones that and then to the comedy in the place where I was born, I would tell them I belong where I'm living right now. So I wasn't even here or there. I was like floating, and a lot of people wonder how could you do that? How did you do that for so many years? And so, well, I was lucky, I guess. They didn't find that out, and I had a real good job in Cuba as a tour guide, and I was working in tourism. And a lot of people questioned me, like, how come you don't belong to anything and you got this job? I was one of those that went under the radar.
And through. Yeah.
Yeah, because they're not as strict as they were before when it comes to that. They kind of lost control. They don't have as much control as they did during the 70s and the 80s. After the 90s, like that's kind of people don't like it's not as it used to be. People don't
Right.
believe that. People just participate and they belong to that because they have to, but not because they feel that is the right thing, that is good for the people.
Right.
I guess most of the people in Cuba already know that that so-called revolution, it's a failure.
Right.
It failed to the people. It failed in all the way, shape, or form. It doesn't work for nobody. They don't care about the people, and they know people know. People are just afraid because it's been like terror. It's been established from the very beginning of that so-called revolution. They started, remember, they started like taking people to a firing squad just because they thought different. If they would say it, that they didn't agree with what was going on, they would just take the person to the firing squad. How many people did they kill? They killed a lot. So they established themselves with terror, and people are afraid. That's understandable, and it's hard to ask our people in Cuba to stand up for democracy and for freedom. It's hard to do that. I mean, it's hard for them to understand because it's hard for people to do or back up something that they don't know. They
Right.
don't know freedom. They don't know they have rights because the rights and freedoms been taken from them for so many years.
Well, they
Many of them, they were born like the people from my generation, 1972. They were born under that system. They don't know any better. So they you know,
Okay.
they're listening to that right now, and they are like going like, okay,
Hold on, Osmel.
Oh my
Tadeo
God.
says that Trump is not respecting the will of the people. He's ignoring the democratic process, which has been in place for 200 years. I want to share with him what it really means to ignore the will of the people. One moment, please, as I share
I'm
the
gonna
screen.
I'm gonna take a minute to
This is what happens in Cuba, Tadeus. Learn something. This is
actually
how they
find.
restrict the vote in Cuba. They harass people, threats, reprisals, arbitrary arrests, raids on homes, confiscation of property, generally linked to fabricated criminal cases, obstacles to gatherings for political purposes, undue restrictions on leaving the country. Obstacle to gatherings for political purposes. You haven't seen all these so-called peaceful protests. I mean, there's so much freedom here that you can burn things to the ground, you can riot, you can loot, you can when you're peacefully protesting for the Democrats, you don't have to wear a mask and you can burn everything to the ground. You can hit reporters, crack their skulls open. But in Cuba, it's the opposite. The government fabricates cases against you. They don't let you leave the country. They deport you from one part of the country to the other. They stigmatize you and they smear you. And that is all
Well,
to prevent candidates that are different from the ones that they like or that are aligned with the Communist Party.
But it's
well,
funny. It's funny, Riquet. It's funny that now you mentioned that. Yesterday when I get home, I got my sign outside. Saying on 2020. I asked my wife, "What happened with the sign that is actually on the side of the door, but it's not on the window?" And she said, like, I had to remove it because I don't want nobody actually, throw a stone to my window or something like that. It's like,
yeah.
now you reading all that. I guess we go back to Cuba now because we actually feel like it was in Cuba. You can express yourself because the party that is calling out for unity, I mean, call out for the union, is actually oppressing you. And Eliezer was talking about that yesterday. I had the time to listen, and it's like, how are you gonna make me shut myself down? Cannot express
Answer.
myself.
I wanna answer this guy. I'm sorry, Ernesto. I'm sorry,
Guys,
Ernesto.
I'll be back. I'll
I,
be
I,
back in a
I
second, all
got
right? I'll be back with you. I gotta go
yeah.
eat something very quick. I'll be back, I promise.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. So yeah, Raquel was answering you, thinking you were here in the United States, but no, you're a Cuban citizen. Oh, I'm so sorry. I had this conversation yesterday with someone that was living in Mexico. Yeah, you have no right. None whatsoever. Yeah, this is not your issue. This is our issue. This is our problem. you need to go take care of your problem over there because you have many, many, many over there to take care of. So you need to go take care of those. We've got this. There is a system. You're right. There is a system in place. And guess what? Our president, who is still our president until January 20th, okay, is going through the correct process, okay, legal process, okay, which the Democrats did not go through, okay. That is the system that we are going through, a system that your country does not have in place. So I'm sorry, you have no right to be talking about something you have no clue what it's about. So
let me tell low IQ Tadeus. Let me tell him something. Low IQ Tadeus, it's okay. I understand that you say that we're all Cuban, but Fidel Castro is also Cuban.
Was.
Was, because he's dead, right? But the Communist Party in Cuba is made up of Cubans as well. Okay, just like there are socialist Americans and Republican or liberty-loving Americans. Okay, Tadeo. So just because you are born somewhere, or because you have a certain color on your skin, or you believe in some religion or another, doesn't make you a worse or a better person. It's your actions.
right.
And the fact that you put that phrase there lets me know that either you're, again, low IQ, or you are one of these agents that tries to divide the people outside of Cuba by talking about being united, right? Let's all be together and let's all not have any moral values, any accountability. Let's all be hypocrites, for the sake of unity. I don't want to be united with low lives and what do you call them? Gusanos, worms, because the real worms are the ones that crawl back to the Cuban regime and lick their boots. Okay, Tadeus? Low IQ Tadeus.
So
Dang.
I got something I want to read here, and
Okay.
it's something that I wrote on Facebook the other day. Let me find it because I think it's related to this. Kind of related.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, I'm trying to find this. Okay. Okay. If you guys let me read this, I wrote it like it was like 3 days ago. I'm so sorry for all those who live in Cuba and cannot openly express themselves due to the lack of freedom of speech.
Right.
And because they are also forced to say and post things that are not even in agreement with.
Right.
But it's life under a communist dictatorship. People lie to themselves and to others, either because they are told to do so, and I have been told so by some of them, or because they depend on telling those lies to keep a job.
Right.
But that's exactly what have maintained those dictators in power for these many years. Repression, coercion, false propaganda, and forced propaganda from the people. Same people that don't like them, they don't like the system.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that it's all BS and a huge failure. Same people that would love to live in a free country, but have been stolen their rights and their voices. Shame on all those who don't come to me in private and tell me what you don't say in public. If you want your voice to be heard, at least don't reproduce what the communists say. Be honest to yourself. It's a lot more honorable to keep silence than reproducing what the dictators ask you to reproduce. Dictators that you also hate.
Right.
So,
Yeah. I mean,
lot,
we
lot of
understand they need to make a living, and he's probably getting paid to to write on our Facebook, which is fine. You need to make a living, but it annoys me. It annoys me because these are the same people that when I was 9 years old, they told me and my family that, that we when we were decided to leave, they told us that they didn't need us, but now they want us to come back with our dollars. That's the same type of people.
Yeah. See,
It's the
I got
same type
something
of
else.
people, and they're bad people. I don't care. I'm sorry, but I know there's people that have to get by, and you have to, you have to take things from the government, and because the system doesn't work. But that there's just bad people and good people in every society, and these people are just bad people. Uh,
So if you allow me to read something else that
yeah,
because
absolutely.
I'm a better writer than speech.
Yeah.
So I wrote the other day this. I have noticed that some people are so stupid and act like idiots when it comes to the results of the elections of the United States. This is nothing, or this ain't nothing to joke about. This is very serious. The corruption has reached to levels never seen before here, and we all will be affected in one way or another. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter where you live. If democracy, liberty, freedom of speech, and free market economy, and so many other aspects of this powerful free nation is messed up, that means another big nation like China or Russia will take over. Do
Right.
you want that to happen? Do you really want the world to be ruled by an openly communist nation or an underlying communist one? Do we really want this great nation to fail in its effort to keep on being the lighthouse of the lost sailors of the world? Land of the brave and the free forever and ever. God bless the United States of America. That be it. Amen.
Amen. And yeah, I pray to God that we don't get there. But you know, I've seen. I'm looking at all of this, and it's like it's like that in the Nightmare Before Christmas. It's like deja vu. I mean, what? Why is this happening in this country? And it's happening in front of our eyes, and people are not seeing what they're doing. They are doing it to us again here. They're doing it. The media, they've gone into the media, and they are commending every single. It's one-sided. The media is one-sided, and that's and if you are afraid to say that you're Republican, that is a problem. That is, you're starting to lose your freedom of speech. You are starting to lose your identity. If you cannot say I voted for Trump, that's a problem.
I wanna tell something to Tadeo, to low IQ Tadeus.
Yeah.
He
I
said
saw.
that I can't wear my MAGA hat in these ATL streets. Like he
Yeah,
knows the streets or
yeah,
whatever. And I
absolutely.
want to share something with him right now. Boom! That's right. I voted in my MAGA hat, Tadeus, in these ATL streets because I don't care. And if you try to step to me, I'll have you know, sir, that I'm ready. In Cuba, they took our weapons. Over here, we have the Second Amendment. Look like you, Tadeus.
Yes, we
you, sh-
do.
you should show him. You
So,
should show him your when
please.
you went to the White House. Your hat in the White House too.
oh God. Oh, I got pictures for days.
Well, I voted wearing my hat and a shirt that said Trump pants.
Yeah,
So what? So
we're
and on
not afraid.
Saturday, this past Saturday, somebody told me, hey, friend of mine, he said, I don't go out wearing, your Keep America Great hat, because you may get in trouble. With all this is going on, and we're like, are you
People,
kidding me? Are you
yeah,
kidding me?
because they're intimidating people. Just like that, this is happening. This is happening. They're intimidating people. But you know what? They're not going to intimidate us because we know better.
It's like
know
losing,
better.
you know, it's like losing your rights step by step. It's like um if you allow that to happen, like not dressing the way you want to dress, that's the first step. And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
next thing is gonna be you're not allowed to say. And then next thing is that, oh, you cannot even think about it because you're gonna get in trouble.
Yeah.
So 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 it's like you're giving away your freedom. It's like, hey, here's my freedom. My
Okay.
freedom of
This guy,
speech,
sorry,
freedom
this guy needs to
of
go.
person.
He can't say bad words in our channel. But listen, yeah, Fox News, yeah, you guys fought them out. We understand. I mean, they had a price.
You're
You
talking
guys,
about Fox News.
yeah, they had
Yeah.
a price. So he's saying even Fox News, of course, yeah, they had a price. You guys paid them out. We understand. But yeah, you're not gonna come into our channel and say bad
I'm
words.
sorry, my English is not very good. How do you pronounce that? Is Fox News? Sorry, because it's I'm still having this kind of pronunciation problem. Is that what it's called?
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
So it's there's a lot of
It's
manipulation in the media. A lot of manipulation. They've been
well,
manipulating. They've been lying. They've been saying
so yeah.
not
So
true. If
I'm
you
telling everybody to leave the media, go to Newsmax TV. Okay,
uh
go to Newsmax TV. They are the only ones, and also leave Facebook. Go to Parler. How do you
and
say
and
Parler?
this
Yeah,
this this is not happening only in the United States. It's happening in Switzerland. I have a friend from Switzerland. He called me today, and he said that they are Trump. According to the media, there Trump is a
yeah,
monster. He's a
yeah,
terrorist. He's
yeah, yeah.
he's the worst.
Oh well,
Well,
yeah, but
they talk so bad about Trump. Probably Trump doesn't even know
but it's
how to
but it's
use.
not just Trump. They're talking about 70 million Americans that voted for Trump.
We're all stupid.
Don't understand that. It's not just Trump. There are 70 million people that, backed him up. So it's that we're not going to back down. We're not going to back down. We're going to stand up for our rights. At least.
And the thing that a lot of people don't understand is not about Trump or Biden. It's about
Yeah.
what's behind that. It's about
Yeah.
the tendency of the Democratic Party.
Our
What they
democracy.
or Democrats, what they've been doing lately. So it's simple. If the dictators of the world are happy because Biden is the elect president,
Yeah.
what
There
does that tell
must
you?
be something wrong.
What does that tell you? If Maduro in Venezuela is happy, if the guy in Iran is happy, if Diaz-Canel and Raul Castro are happy, so what does that tell you?
Well, and now, and of course, that China is waiting with open arms because I mean, Biden has to pay back some of that money he took away. He's
So,
got to pay them back somehow.
so it's
Yeah,
about legal and transparent elections.
yeah,
That's what it's all about. Like if it's Biden and it's all legal, and
yeah.
most of the people
Hey,
of the United States
right,
want
ex-
him to be the president, hey, welcome, congratulations.
right,
You know,
exactly,
but
exactly.
but Trump is doing what he's got the right to do and what we have the right to do. He's asking for transparency. Let's make it clear.
Oh
Let's
yeah, Tadeo wants to smoke, man. I swear. He says that I'm only a guapo with escopeta. Okay, Tadeo, let me show you another picture. Since you want some of this smoke, Tadeo. We can do it, bro. We can do it if you want. Step to me, son. This guy is completely bonkers. I will block him for being an
Yeah,
low IQ. You're low IQ to this. You're low IQ. You're out, bro. Get out of here. dummy.
I think Jose is somewhere around there, right? I think it's
I don't see anybody else in the trying to get it.
No,
because I know he's writing something on Facebook. Let me see.
he says he couldn't find us.
Okay, well, I can put the link again as
Okay.
soon as my mouse works. Good lord.
Low IQ. You're low IQ to the S.
Oh my goodness.
Come out.
Hold on, I'm gonna share the link again. Here we go. And if he wants, I can send it via Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp.
Yeah, I would do that. It's probably
Yeah,
faster.
Jose's
Yeah, just send me a message via Facebook, guys, if you want to come in. That's not a problem. I will say that
we cannot
You're-
hear you. You
we
muted
can't
yourself.
hear you.
no, I'm gonna say that it's already 9:19, so I'm gonna close it down at 9:40. So we got like 20 minutes, okay, guys?
Yep. Okay, so maybe because I think I sent him a link, but I might have sent him the wrong one. That could have been. Do you have him on Facebook? Let me see. Jose Morales Perez.
I have him.
Yeah, send him the link.
Mouse works. Good lord. Low IQ. You're low IQ.
Because I think I sent him a. Oh, there he is. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he was on. Okay. So Ernesto had to leave, and
Okay, so you sent it to him?
yeah, I had to send him, but I mean he can get it now. Let me.
I don't know. Carlos Gutierrez is saying something about having getting rid of both parties and then having a Spanish American party with a Spanish civil code.
That would be a mess. That would be the end of this nation.
Yeah, I don't. The Spanish have some because I heard that the School of Salamanca has some libertarian philosophies and things like that. But looking at what the Spanish experiment, I would say that Europe is dead.
Yeah.
Europe is not the old world. Europe is the dead world. There's a bunch of zombies out there in the old world just walking around. But this is the new battleground, the Americas. I'm sorry, but it's true.
Of
They gave
course.
us some good stuff, but they have a lot of bad stuff, man. And we don't want it. Nope, that's okay. We like our guns. We like our freedom.
Yeah.
Let's see. Thank you. Saludos to Arlen Tavares in Brazil. ¿Cómo está, irmão? Boa noite. Yeah.
Boa noite.
Que você fala português também?
Sim, mas eu falo português do Brasil. Você fala um português aí meio português da Europa?
Eu não falo muito bom.
Não, mas eu escutei o português. Ou seja, a boca cheia de bacalhau.
Portugal.
Portugal. ¿Cómo se fala? No, bacalao en español, pero en portugués, ¿cómo se dice bacalao?
Oh, come on, man. Come on.
Espérate.
Fala um bocadinho. Now what you gonna do? You playing about? You playing?
Yeah, he's trying to find that.
He's going Google now. Google. So yeah, guys. I think one of the worst things that happened during these elections here in the States is the fact of having all these issues to the rest of the world. The rest of the world is looking at us, but it's gonna be something for the rest of the world to learn how
Yeah.
and in democracy you can dispute and you can go and take that to the Supreme Court and
Exactly.
and if all the facts are there and the truth It's gonna be
will come out.
shown.
The
It's gonna be
truth will
proven.
prevail. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean that's what I'm saying. I mean, look, everything will come out. The truth will prevail, and they might have been too good at everything at doing their fraud. I mean, there's definite fraud. Before I wasn't saying that word because I did, I had no evidence. Now there's evidence. There is definite evidence. Fraud has been committed for sure. So now I'm saying the word. Before there
Well,
wasn't.
you take that chance. I wouldn't take a chance like that up to the
I am
moment that
taking no. I'm
that's
taking the word.
proven.
I'm taking the chance because I actually have seen have the I've heard reporters that have actually testified on national television saying that they have seen how a dead person voted, and they went to the family's house, and the person has been dead for 2 years.
Even someone that was even I've heard of someone that died in 1984.
So I mean, that's fraud.
Voting. Someone that
I
died
mean,
in
what do you
1984.
call that? That's fraud. What else?
Well, pause, guys. Jose, I sent you a message in Facebook Messenger. So you can come in. I already sent you the link on Facebook Messenger.
I mean, I don't. What else? How do you call? What do you call that? If you're.
Yeah, but remember, by law in the United States, you're innocent till proven guilty.
But the guy has proven him guilty. The guy went to.
I
He has
understand.
a death. He
I
has a
ag-
death certificate. What
yeah,
other proof do you
I
need?
agree. I agree with you. I agree with you. But like myself, I wouldn't
No.
say
I
that
Okay.
unless
I mean, it still has to go to
here
court. I get it. I get it. It has to go to court.
it's
Okay.
got to go to
But I
court.
mean, for me, that's enough proof. The guy was dead. I have a death certificate. The guy's dead. He should not be voting. I mean,
What if he is a walking dead?
I mean,
He might be a walking dead. You
I
never.
don't know. I don't know. I
And the
don't
funny
believe.
thing,
I don't believe.
all this Walking Dead
I'm
voted for
more afraid
Biden.
of the living than the dead. Let me tell
Okay,
you.
but all this Walking Dead voted for Biden.
So many dead people. I swear, I don't know where they got all these votes. Like they multiplied votes overnight. The, I
It's yeah, it's very very weird. It's weird. Yeah. So
no, I
I
mean,
think before December 14th, we will know the truth.
oh, absolutely, absolutely. This will all come out. And
You know, one
and
of the
I'm not.
I'm
I don't care about other. That was my thing yesterday, and that's my thing. Like I wrote about these people commenting, "This is not your country. Go fix you." Every other country has their own problem. Nobody has the right to be telling us, no, because he doesn't have to concede. He has to. We have a process in place,
yeah. You know,
and he owes it to us, to the people that voted for him.
you know,
Because we
you,
want him to go forward.
something. I was listening to this guy. It was can't remember the name of the guy, but he said that elections in the United States, they've been the same for 230 years now, and there are some states like California where they do what they call vote harvesting.
Yeah.
I believe in the 50 states, there should be a federal law that regulates elections, because when it's like this, like every state can conduct elections just the way they want, and then the counties are in charge of that. It's that's what that
Yeah, you have different laws and
Yeah, so
different
like
regulations.
in New Jersey, this there was the example of Joanna I scared when she went to vote. They wrote down all her info, like her name, even her social security number. They even asked her which party she was voting for.
Yeah, because there
And
are some
got
states
the
that you
they
need to
got the
pick a party.
ballot and put it in an open container that could be
That
withdraw from there.
yeah,
So
that I
that's illegal. That's
yeah, that.
illegal.
So let's welcome Mr. Gutierrez. Mr. Gutierrez, welcome. It's good to have you here with us. Thank you for joining us. You.
Conozco de un lado. Yo me llamo Carlos Enrique Gutiérrez, tengo 56 años. Vine de Cuba de casi 2 años. La madre mía tenía 17 cuando se casó. El padre de ella le dijo, no te cases. Y le dio un cocotazo por casarse con el padre mío. Vinieron acá en 1964. Fuimos para California. Y
Speak English, please. Speak English, English,
I'm
English.
sorry, Mr. Gutierrez. This is an English session. Yeah, we're trying to. Okay.
I
Go
speak
ahead.
English perfectly. Thank you. I was in
Okay.
the 3rd Division, Force Support Battalion. I'm a retired veteran, and I volunteer for this mission.
Okay. So, what did you have to say? You were commenting something about Spain and annexation. Please explain your theory or thesis.
It's not a theory. It's actually history. In 1920, we won our independence from the crown in Spain, and we were here in America. All the capacity royalty were general capacity, and we were all Marines for the Pope's military forces, and we had a white flag with a cross on it. Each of the states in the Spanish, what is known as Spanish America, and some of us went crooked and went the other way, but some of us stayed and believed in our royal Catholic heritage, and we do believe strongly in that. I consider myself a not yet knighted, a king of order. I follow the order of the King of Melchizedek. So yeah, this is a religious type of persecution and slander. EEOC protection against the voter rights that have been taken from us, and Florida and West Florida, and a lot of crimes have been committed against us simply because we're Catholic, and it's wrong, flat out wrong.
But are you talking about now, or are you talking about
Correct.
in history and the fact, or what you say is that Cubans, you're saying that when Cuba became independent, they also had rights to Florida land. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, unfortunately, history is very easy to find. You just got to know how to find it. It is your history, it is my history. It is American history, it's South American history. It is right there. It's written on the walls. It's right there. You just got to know where to look.
All right.
But we know that the Spaniards came to Florida, and this is one of the first places that they colonized. And but so you're saying that since Florida is, you're saying that Cuba is Florida is part of Cuba?
Well, actually, Florida, West Florida, and East Florida. Let's get that straight.
Okay.
You have West Florida, and then you have East Florida, and down the center of the Swanee River.
The San Agustin area.
Well, down the center of the Swanee River, and the border of Georgia south. That's where East Florida border boundaries are. 1 mile, 3 miles around the whole thing. Now, West Florida is down the Swanee River to the east.
Okay. So, which part belongs to Cuba, in your opinion?
Each of the captaincy were in the whole Spanish America, and Florida was a marshland, wetland, and what have you. And most of the Indian population was returned back to their villages after they were used for services. Now, they were not beat up or anything like that, but some men did fall in love with them and mix with them, which was not wrong. But that's what happened, and they were put back like the Pope and the fathers had ordered us to do, put back in their villages. But the The natives didn't care. They just wanted to go along their way. And we were ordered to put churches and stuff to see if they would come, smell the food, and rejoin the music. But they wouldn't. They would want to go on their own way. And that's why today we have the Mississippi and then the Salome. But the Confederates went to war with them. And that's where we are now. Because of that war, the Pope turned his back on us because he didn't want to have any further conflict with the nation and the birth of the nation. So we are Captain City. I am, because I consider myself a royal knight, and that's who I am. My father, and I can trace back my bloodline to that knighthood. We were Marines. We dressed up like the Three Musketeers. You'll look it up at the um, the generals of the three armies. That's who we are. We used to dress funny because the Giovanni designed our clothes for the Pope, and he's always had that. So there's always been one Pope. I am not anti-Pope. This is a religious prosecution, and it is ugly. And United States Puritans and the Amish, they only had the James Catholic Bible. And as you know, the James Catholic Bible was propagated by King James for particular purposes to dominate over his wife.
And what do you think about this socialist pope that we have now?
Socialist post, or what do you exactly? What are you talking about? Because I am a Republican. I do believe in capitalism, and I do believe in
the Pope right now, the Argentinian Pope that is a socialist. What do you think about this Pope?
When you say socialist, you have to have money.
No, the socialists don't have money. They want other people's money.
Well, if I'm going to devise a city and I'm going to be the owner and I'm going to call it Hershey, and I'm going to provide everything for my employees, including stores and everything where they can use their credit, that's kind of a socialism, isn't it?
No.
What do you call it?
That's just capitalism. He bought his own private property.
Yeah, but I own the capital.
So, yes, that's capitalism.
And everybody's going to have a job.
Yes, voluntarily. No slavery. Socialism is slavery.
But I'm going to hold the
But
bank.
I mean, isn't that what happened in Cuba? Didn't
Yeah.
didn't the government say that they gave everybody jobs and everybody houses and everybody's salary was the same?
Batista ruined it.
Of course, it doesn't have it didn't happen and it won't happen anywhere. They promised that because this is just a lie. They just lied to the people. It's something that cannot be done, that's never been done in human history. Because that's thinking of creating a society on earth without God.
Please, leave God out of it.
It's like a paradise on earth without the existence of God. So that won't happen. So it's a promise by the man when the man knows that they cannot do that. It's something undoable. It's just promise. It's just giving people the words they want to hear, just to get their freedom and turn them into slaves.
Mr. Gutierrez, I'm sorry, but we deeply believe in the freedom of having every person, fight for what they and what they want to become.
Right. Well, I hear you, but let me interject to that gentleman. For example, he's talking about a kingdom. He's talking about a kingdom in heaven, and he's talking about protecting the king, and the kingdom will protect him.
No, he's not. No, he's not. He didn't say that. He said that you can't have a heaven on earth because
there is no heaven on earth.
Exactly. But when socialists tell you, that everybody's going to be the same and that we're going to give everybody jobs and that we're going to give everybody houses and that we're going to educate everybody the same, that
that's what he said.
Like heaven. And it sounds like heaven to people, right?
That's what he said, though.
It's what?
That's what he said.
Well, yes.
Those are the promises. Those are the usual promises of the socialists.
I didn't understand him the same way.
Yeah, well,
I understood him as putting down Catholicism and making Catholicism sound like socialism.
No, I said that the Pope is socialist. No, the Argentinian Pope right now is a socialist.
We're not against Catholicism. We're
because of what he said.
Pope is stating. I mean, honestly, to be honest, let's just go to the very basics. not that I'm against it, but it's against the Bible itself. For him to say, and you know, that homosexuality is okay. I'm so that's a it's against, it goes against the Bible.
What are you saying? What is against the Bible?
Homosexuality. He approved homosexuality.
No, he did not. He's approved the children that are doing homosexuality because they are children of God.
He approves civil unions.
He approved the children of God. What they do, he has no control over.
But he condemns capitalism and he says that capitalism fails.
Well, he's a monarchy.
Well, what does that? You can have a capitalist monarchy.
Okay,
You can have a democracy.
He's a socialist, is what he
Have
is.
a
second.
democratic monarchy.
What is a
You cannot have
monarchy?
what you're saying.
What is a
What's a
monarchy?
So explain to us the definition of monarchy.
I'm going to tell you the definition of monarchy. Well, after you tell me what's monarchy.
Okay, there goes the king. He's naked. He's all naked. But the people don't care. They can't say nothing. That's a monarchy.
Well, monarchy is it's when the power is given and it's transferred to your kids, and because you're a king, that's a monarchy. It's a monarchy.
No, sir.
So
the king owns everything. So how could that happen?
Capitalism is not a monarchy.
Right.
No.
A monarchy is something. It's just like you know, like they have in England. A monarchy is something you're born into. You don't vote into. It's something it's a bloodline. Okay.
It's like the king.
You don't vote either.
You can be elected, or you can become king in other ways. You can marry into monarchy as well.
Yes.
Well,
definitely hereditary. Usually, it's by divine right as well. You know, especially in the past. Nowadays, we're all secular, but
no, we're not.
Nowadays, most governments are secular. But my beef is just with this Pope and his socialist statements.
Whoa.
Yeah. You know,
well, excuse me, but let's leave the Pope. He's the one he's a priest for the Most High God. He's not our priest.
Hey, the Catholic Church is doing weird things, bro.
Definitely my priest. I'm
well,
sorry.
There's a swamp in there
of the Catholic Church, but I go to my priest down the street at St. Augustine.
Okay.
Well,
I'm okay with that.
So he's not my priest.
Okay.
As long as he's not leading you astray, it's all good.
Nobody leads me astray. I have domation over
we were
the
talking
earth
about
and every little
politics,
creature.
and now we're
I
talking
do not have domation over people.
Oh, we'll get into it. But it's already 9:40. Thank you, Carlos, for joining us.
Bye.
Take care.
Thank you very
much.
And
guys, last words.
Yeah. Well, I'll let Olisner say his goodbyes.
I'm saying
interesting.
Yeah.
Never a dull moment around this channel.
But it's okay. It's okay. You know, diversity criteria. That's very good. So whatever the outcome of all this process that's going on in the United States, let's pray God that we're gonna get the best for this country. Because like I said before, this has been the lighthouse of the lost sailors of the world for so many years, and we don't want to lose our freedom. We don't want to lose our freedom of speech. We don't want to lose our nation. Like Esther said before, in another what would I call this? Intervention. Okay.
Yeah, we're calling it debate, but really,
we lost a country before. We lost a homeland before. We don't want to lose a second homeland, which is the United States of America. So let's pray God the best will happen, and we'll keep what we have, keep America great, and have America a better place for all of us and the world, not only America, the whole world a better place. And for that, let's start by making a change to ourselves. Be a better version of ourselves every day.
Amen.
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 Thank you, guys.
Well, I'm gonna say my goodbyes with really, we need to stay at peace. I know a lot of us have anxiety, and it's normal to be anxious at times like this because it's uncertain times. Especially if you voted for Donald Trump, and we don't know what the outcome is going to be yet. But even though I want you to be calm, I don't want you to give up. Okay? Because this is a man that didn't give up on us. So we can't give up on him. Not yet. There is, there's still time. I've done a lot of reading on this process, and in 1896, and the election of 1896, 2 days before January 20th. So on January 18th, the outcome was reversed. So anything can happen before they take their oath. Anything can happen, and this is still being first of all, nothing is official. The electoral voters have not officially announced a president, so let's start with that, and that won't happen until December the 8th. So because just because you're seeing it all over the news, please understand the media does not have the right to name a president in the United States of America. They don't have that right. Nobody has given it to them, and we're not going to give it to them either. So
That's right.
until the electoral vote, comes out, the official vote comes out, it's and even then, if there are still court proceedings, there's still other processes to go through. So don't give up, but don't be anxious, because this is just democracy at its best. This is democracy at its best, and this is something that my country can do. And so I love this. I love the fact that we can say so many frauds have been committed. We have a system in place, and we know where to go and what to do. And so just be vigilant. If you see anything happening, there are phone numbers to call, but don't give up. Don't give up, because but please, also I do want to call, for order and peace. We are not the violent ones. Republicans are the civil ones. We take care of things in court.
Exactly. Thank you, Iskra. Just to close it up, I want to say thank you again to both Osmel and Iskra. And if maybe we don't know who's going to win, and maybe the person that wins is not the person that we like, but I think that the real loser in this election in the United States is mainstream media, because at least half the country will not trust it and will not go back to it.
Right.
And I think that's a good thing. And yeah, we're lucky to be able to have this chaos, because in Cuba, you know for a certainty who's going to be in power forever. That you get up in the morning and the Castros or the Communist Party is in power. You go to sleep at night and the Castros and the Communist Party is in power. And you do that for 60 years and you will always know. So I suppose for some people it's very comforting in a horrifying way. But here we actually enjoy a little bit of reform, change. a little bit of risk, a little bit of chaos, because it moves the country forward. And with that, love you guys, and I'll see you.
You're sounding like the Communist Party is going to be there forever and ever, and it's not going to happen. We are working hard for that to be finished. That's it. We
That's
don't want
right.
it. People don't
Hey,
want
God willing, man. From your mouth to God's ears. Take care, guys.
Bye bye.
it. Love you guys. Having me. Bye bye.